Hello. Does it feel like the camera's crooked? But like I have no idea what I would do about that. I don't think that's something that I can fix. Oh, I guess I'm just gonna stay crooked, I guess. Like, it's fine. It's totally fine. Just wanted to check the audio balancing really quickly before we get started. We've got so much to talk about. We have so much to talk about. It seems good though. So yeah, let's hop right on into it. My salutations, friends. My name is Brianna Sukiyama Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and welcome to my mid-year book freakout tag. I've got a lot to say. A lot is going on. It's already, I don't know how many prompts exactly we have, but I do have, like, even I think there's at least like 7 prompts. That's 7 books we gotta chat about. I want to, of course, explain a little bit of why some of these books were chosen for these places. And then I already told you, if you saw my Q2 stream, I already told you I got a lot in under the books I need to read this year. I have a very excessive number that I was supposed to get down this year. I'm not going to read you the description of every single one of those. I'm just going to go over titles of those, but there's still a lot. So let's get into it with prompt number 1. Best book you've read so far in the year. I chose Things I'll Never Say. That book, and another reason why I'm probably not going to do the description of most of these is because the majority of the ones that I did read, I did like a full stream dedicated to it. This book was such an amazing story to read. I was a mess. I like emotional wreck this book left me in, but it was such a good story. It was a phenomenal depiction of grief and moving on after the loss of a loved one. And there were so many things that like I didn't realize I needed to read until I read them in this book, and I just absolutely 10 out of 10 will probably read this book again. It's also a story told as kind of like a diary or journal entry, and that was like my thing growing up. Like, I read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I read Dear Dumb Diaries. I read Dork Diaries. There was like 1 or 2 Diary of a Teenage Vampire books that I kind of want to check out again. I'd check them out again. Like, diary books were my shit, and so this was another one of those, and so we really enjoyed getting to do that. Number 2. Next prompt. Best sequel I've read so far. Revenant Prince. This is book 2 of the Curse of Shalvala series. I've been obsessed with this book. I read book 1, I think 2 years ago is when book 1 came out. I read it as an arc. I also got the arc of book 2. And absolutely obsessed. There is a romance in the story that is incredibly well done. But what like really got me was like emotionally and left me again crying for pretty much the entire half of the book was the way that couple also had like a really strong platonic love with this other character, and that like whole family that they created destroyed me. There was also so much good done with because it's not really a spoiler. It's like a core foundational piece of the story is you basically have this revival mechanic in which a character, once they die, they come back to life, but they lose all their memories. And I still think the author handles this mechanic like it's unreal how well the story does with this, and seeing that go into play and see also how characters interact with him with his memory loss is just so good. I can't wait for book 3, but I know it's gonna be the last book, and I'm stressed because I want it to keep going, but I also know it's gonna hurt every single book. But like, I'm so excited for book 3. Book 2 was amazing. Book 2 was amazing. Should I read? Because I think there are 2 books in here that I haven't read that are like on their own page. I'll just give descriptions. I'll just give like generic chill descriptions and it'll be fine. Because our next piece in the tag is new releases that you haven't read yet but want to. I have been anticipating this book, How to Breathe Ash, for a hot minute. I have an arc we'll get into this. I have an arc by the author because despite the fact that I already was drowning in arcs, I got greedy. And no, I wasn't even greedy. I was nosy. And I went into this page of a Discord that I'm in that's supposed to be just like arcs and betas. And I was just being nosy and I came across this cozy fantasy story that looked fucking awesome. So I went, checked it out, signed up. Like, I signed up for the arc. Didn't think I'd get it, but the author gave it to me anyway. It's fine. And signed up for the author's newsletter. Their author newsletter came up next one, and they're like, I'm gonna write like a Cinderella story, but it's, I think, like with theater, and then characters autistic, and I just, and it's sapphic, and I'm like, that sounds cool. That sounds great. I'm not going to be greedy and ask for this arc when I haven't finished your first arc. I'm not gonna do that, but I did buy it when it released. I bought it pretty much the second that it released, but I haven't gotten to read it yet. And it came out just in June. It came out just this past June, and I still really want to read it, but I absolutely need to finish the actual arc that I got first before I get into this one. But I'm very excited. It sounded super fun and cute, and I'm very excited to get into this author. The next one, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I have two. So number one is everyone's thinking it. If we're being honest, this question was hard for me because I just don't know when books come out. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I think I read it at the beginning of last year. It was the. What was it? It was this story about Black Muslim girls. I completely forgot. What? Actually, no. Looking in my story graph and looking through books that I read would probably be significantly. Where's my 5 stars? Cool. I think I gave it 5 stars. But that book, we'll eventually figure out what it's called. But that book, I spent like months harassing my library about getting it, only to find out it hadn't released. It was like 2 months away from the release. So I was just bullying my library for no reason. I did end up getting it from the library though, so I guess it worked. Like, you can't say, you truly assumed that's what it was. Like, you can't say the results aren't there. But that's the main reason why this is hard. I don't know when anything comes out. And then I also, like, several of the books that I do have several books that I'm extremely excited for as arcs, but I wanted to put up everyone's thinking of it. It is a cross between Ace of Spades and Mean Girls, and it's black, and that sounds just awesome. That just sounds fantastic. I should get it from the library, but I'm tempted to just buy it if it's affordable, because I'm sure you all, if you have been in the book community for a hot minute, you know that the prices of fucking ebooks are unreasonable. They are not reasonable at all. Like, let's look. Everyone's thinking it. Let's see if they have a price for. They do. How much? Like $10.99 for an ebook is a lot, guys. That's a lot of money. That's more than paperbacks and shit. It's rude. It's rude is what it is. The other book that I'm super excited for the second half of the year is Imani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible by Brianna Bond. Ugh, that sounds familiar. This is my autistic cheerleader romance. Let me see. Let me pull up on Storygraph my description for it, and I'll read you the description of this book so that you know. books that I wrote. We've got quite a handful, and the list is growing. Amani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible. Amani Jones has it all figured out. Unfortunately, she can't picture things ending well for herself. How can you if you've never seemed to get the whole being a good human thing right? Hell, she can't even talk half the time, and she says all the wrong things when she does. Nobody notices her, nobody would miss her, so it's gotten harder and harder for her to find a reason to stick around. Aaliyah Thomas is down bad. Not just I've had a crush on you for years bad, but she had a long list of reasons to stay in town for college, and Amani Jones was high up on it. When Amani says she's going to quit their cheer team, fear and concern take over, and Aaliyah just stops thinking. She just kisses her. While the girls build their relationship, they mix Amani's love of photography and Aaliyah's love of fashion and Amani into a business on social media that helps them bond in ways they wouldn't have thought of. But when things they tried to ignore come back to bite them, they have to support each other if they want to make it through. So that's something you can check out. You can this book is you can save it on Goodreads, you can save it on Storygraph, and if you go down to the link below, you can sign up for my newsletter and get all of the juicy news on it. But moving on, this next one, you gotta hear me out, okay? You gotta stay with me for a second. Biggest disappointment. Now, for my biggest disappointment, I've actually had a pretty solid reading year. I do have a couple books that we just aren't going to acknowledge the existence of, and that's totally fine. But in terms of my biggest disappointment, then, we are going to talk about a book where my disappointment is with the reviews and the reactions of people that read this book, because there were so many reviews of this book in which people were like, oh my god, I related to this character so much, oh my god, this character was just like me, and they were describing the biggest coons I've ever had the misfortune of reading about, like characters that exuded nothing but anti-blackness. And these were black women just saying, oh my god, this character was just like me. Oh my god, I just see myself in her, and I'm just uncomfortable. I'm sad. I'm upset. And so that's what we ended up going with for my biggest disappointment of the year. Hello. I am not ashamed. Oh my god. Right, really quick, I'm not ashamed that Kim Possible is my ringtone. It works. But also I just downloaded Flashpoint Infinity and only now realized that there are probably Kim Possible games on there, so we'll be checking that out today. We'll probably get 0% work done today. Okay, moving on. My biggest surprise was the Luis Ortega Survival Club. The reason for that is because, I was just not expecting, pretty much the first, I want to say, 20% of this book was, basically just my high school experience, and I was not prepared, not only for that, I wasn't prepared for a character that, I could see myself so aggressively in, but I also was not prepared for a book with autistic rep that I related to so severely, including the mutism that Ariana has. And so that was an emotional, tear-jerking, exquisite surprise. So glad this was, I think, the first arc that I read this year, and it was absolutely fantastic. Cannot recommend this book enough. Favorite new author, debut or new to me. My favorite new author is Amy Donnellan. Maybe I pronounced that right. I read her books. And she's also in the Sapphic Blooms anthology, the Sapphic Erotica anthology that I am also part of. But I've read that, and I've read the first 2 books in her Catastrophe Incoming series. I read The Chase Begins, and an arc of that, and then I beta read the second book, and I love it. I'm obsessed. I could genuinely just read 1,000 of these books. The second one is the most Doctor Who kind story I've ever. I'm obsessed. I'm in love with it. I had so much fun. The characters are so much fun, and yeah, I'm along for the ride. I'm strapped in. I'm buckled up. I paid for my season ticket of this one. I'm ready for more books from this offer, from the series. I'm here for it. Newest fictional crush are going to be Lark and Revere from the Catastrophe Incoming series. Lark is the main character in the first book. Revere is the main character in the second book. I've said it before. I'm a fan of someone that's like kind of a jackass, and that describes both of them perfectly. And having them both together it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I love it. I love them so much. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to keep reading more about them. It really is an amazing story, and I'm so happy that I've like found these books. Newest favorite character is Jessie from Something More. This book is so incredibly hilarious. Like, I'm not joking. I'm being 100% serious. I almost choked to death laughing so hard because I decided to eat and read this book. It's so funny. I love the voice of the narration. It's like I feel like what could I have been friends with Jessie? I don't know. She's got some questionable opinions on Prince and Michael Jackson, but I feel like I would love to I would absolutely love to read another book featuring Jessie for sure. I 1000% will be reading more whenever this author puts out another book, without a doubt. Okay, books that made me cry. We've got a couple. First up is Healer of the Water Monster. Again, I've said it before in the dedicated stream I did for this book and in my quarterly. This fucking kid goes through so much because he's got his water monsters dying, his uncle's severely depressed. Nathan himself is depressed. He's traumatized from his parents' divorce, and now literally all of these worlds are on his shoulders. And God, this book it hurt a lot to read, and I wish so much love and peace for this kid. They did right when I was streaming this book, they put out a sequel, so I'm absolutely gonna be reading that. Absolutely, without a doubt. When I'll get to it, I don't know. Let's see. Is it already available on my library? Because that's how I read it on my library. I did a blended read of it. So I was looking at the I was reading the ebook whilst listening to the audiobook. Can we not? Hold on. Ooh, burn it down as the Hawaii public library system. That's exciting. Can we please? Why are you fighting me? Heroes of the Water Monster. Search. It's they don't have the audiobook in the Hawaii State Library. Let's see. Notify me. Let's see. And they have I think one copy, it looks like, at the Chicago Library. We'll be checking that out. I would like to do another blended read of that because the audiobook narrator was also phenomenal there. But yeah, book, absolutely, I was broken over this book. It was absolutely fantastic. 10 out of 10. Cannot recommend this book more. I've been having a really good reading year, if you haven't noticed. Next book that makes me cry, Amani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible. I can't write books without dealing with mental health and whatnot, so there you go. got some sad moments, got some rough moments in there. And last but not least, the Queen of Thieves series. This one, ooh, especially book 4. Actually, you know, this first 4 books are all in like the same era. I refer to it as this is like the first era of the series, and this is more of a emotionally turbulent era. I'm having a lot of fun with book 5 though, so stick around for that. Up next, books that made me happy. I've got 2 for this one. Drinks with Umbrellas. This was just a fun time. This was a woman who like on a whim goes out and, you know, just wants to go on a vacation. She drops everything, goes on a vacation. She needs it, falls in love out there, and it's just so sweet. It's so nice. We loved the couple together. It made me so happy. It made me so happy, especially because I'd read some not great sapphic erotica at this time, but this one made me really happy. Another option for sapphic erotica that I really liked, Sapphic Blooms. So you should check out that book too. This is a collection of sapphic erotica written by a bunch of indie authors, including moi. The most beautiful book I've bought so far this year or received. Can I help? Nugget. My cat's messing with my closet. What? Stop it. Stop it. Okay. I've returned. The most beautiful book I've bought this year or received. I love the cover for Tell Me How It Ends. This book was free, I want to say like the first week of Pride Month, and very, very glad I saw that and was able to pick up this copy because I've seen this around and it's such a beautiful cover. Obsessed. Love the metallic edging around the top of the card. It's so pretty. We're getting there. We are getting there. Favorite book to movie adaptation I've seen this year. I did this last year where I don't think I watched a book to movie adaptation at all. Like, I don't watch a movie adaptation. So we're doing a TV show, and Moon Girl. Moon Girl's fucking great. I love Moon Girl. I'm obsessed with Moon Girl. I'm obsessed with everything about Moon Girl, and you can't stop me. Can't wait for season 2. Okay, here it is. We finally got there. The big ones. The big ones. I don't even know if I can properly read these off from my computer because they are so big. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? So I've got 2 slides of this one. This entire slide is arcs that I have. And yeah, these are all the arcs that I have and that I need to read. So let's go ahead. I think one of them I have already finished. I finished it like this past weekend, probably like Sunday, and I just didn't update this. But that's fine. I don't think I've received any other arcs since making this though, so that's great. So we have Night of the Living Queers, The Dark Place, which I'm currently reading, which I'm very proud of myself. I actually ended up requesting Night of the Living Queers arc because it was like read now on NetGalley, so anyone could get it. And I grabbed it and I actually like hit the button because I thought it was apply, and then it just gave me the book and I was super excited. But I also want to try and get more into horror. But I'm currently reading The Dark Place, and first off, I'm very proud of myself. I've been able to sleep, but also I love it. Like, I love it. It's not, granted, I haven't read like pretty much any other horror, but it's not like as like shit myself scary as I've been worried horror would be, and that might just be this story. I do think the author herself had said like it's more creepy than horrifying, but I've loved the story so far. It really feels like an allegory for suicide, which I also love, but this book has been great. Monstrous is another one that I've been super excited for. I like requested this for the author. A Tale of Hijinks and Honeydews is the book that I actually got from the author of How to Breathe Ash. The Sun in the Void, I just finished. Have some very complicated feelings about that one. That will be streamed ideally next week sometime. Who actually knows? Place of Cool Waters, I read The People of Ostrich Mountain by this author at the beginning of the year, and I just loved the writing so much that I requested this book too. I don't think these are Vance copies. I think both of these books came out earlier, like a year or so ago. But I have the audiobook and ebook of this book, and will be, right? Kelly hasn't deleted my audiobook, right? That would be actually just rude. Yeah, I still got the audiobook. Cool. But yeah, so I have that, and I'm gonna do another blended rate with those books. I don't know. I like ideally again. These are the books that I for sure want to get through this year, because they're arcs. Most of these I'll be getting through before before the last quarter of the year. Most of them I wanted to get through them all by August, but I don't know if that's gonna end up happening. So we're gonna end up, because I wanted August to be my Spanish reading month because it's my birthday month, and so we wanted to do that. But that might not end up being able to happen. So we might end up doing whatever. Like, I'm for sure going to try and read El Principio del Sol in August. And then we might also just make November. I believe that's Latin American Heritage Month. We'll make November also Spanish reading month this year to make up for it. But yeah, so we want to get through all of these arcs because they're arcs. I want to get through them all this year, and these are the ones I for sure will be getting through this year. The Phoenix King, another arc I did not expect to get, but I have it, and I'm very, very, very excited to be reading this book. Take a Hike. That is, I believe, an indie book with a Lenny Kaufman cover. We love Lenny Kaufman covers. This author was giving out arcs. Got a copy, and we'll probably be reading it later this year. Indigo Voss, that one I know I'm starting in September. Against Techno Ableism, again, if you saw my quarterly reading, you'll know that I had started this book and I thought it was 30 pages, so I was like, I can read 30 pages really quick, and then I'll get and that'll be a nice quick book story to read, a nice quick nonfiction to read, and I ended up not finishing it, and so my little nonfiction section on my quarterly thing was not filled out, because when I opened the book, it was like, oh, you have 3 hours left in this book, and I was like, I can read 30 pages in less than 3 hours. What is this? What's going on here? And I don't do well with that kind of cognitive dissonance. I do not do well. So we're still working on Against Techno Ableism. I would like to get that done this quarter, but I'm struggling. And then we have Starseer. I loved this cover. And yeah, another one I'm very, very excited to finish by the end of the year. Now, moving on to the more books that I need to get done. These are more of once upon a time we wished we were going to get this over this year, but then I added 12 books of arcs. And here we are, because these are my 5-star my 5-star book draft picks from the beginning of the year, as well as some that I've added. I've also added the majority of these arcs to my 5-star book draft. But the 5-star book draft is basically I pick books that I think are going to be a 5-star read, and then I average out my ratings for them at the end of the year. And only rules are no rereads and no series, because a series I feel needs to be judged differently than just a standalone book or even just the first book of a series. No books later in the series. I've done the first book in a series, but yeah, so we have this whole ass page of books that, like, some of these I still really, really, really want to get in by the end of the year. Like, I really want to read The Boy with a Bird in His Chest this year. I really, really, really want to read With the Fire on High. I really, really, really want to read Wife of the Gods. Or not Wife of the Gods. I want to read it, but I don't know if that's gonna make it in the year. El Príncipe del Sol, that I will be reading that. I will be reading that this year. These other ones might have to get pushed back. So you've also got Bones to the Wind. I really want to get done these. I have two books on here that are not. I have two books on here that are not book draft picks, and that is Lord Beneath the Lupins, which is book 5 of the Diana Flowers series. I need to finish this series. I think I'm like 2 years out from the last time I read a book in the series, and I need to finish it. I just need to finish it. And so we have that, and then we have the first book in the Sisters Grimm series, which is a reread. It's like one of my favorite book series from when I was a kid, and I want to reread it. But we gotta get it together. I want to get those 2 books in. Those should not be long, but oh my god, I'm struggling. But we also have Gin City, The Blue Bar, Wife of the Gods, Gaikei, Good Morning Dinah, Gimmicks and Glamour, Magic Steeped in Poison. I'm embarrassed at how long it's been since I actually got into reading this. I shit you not. This book has been my phone wallpaper. You can't even kind of see it in any way, shape, or form. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Well, I guess you're just gonna have to believe me. This book has been my phone screensaver for ages, and I haven't read it, and I'm so embarrassed by this fact. With The Fire on High, I just love Elizabeth Acevedo, and I want to read at least one book of hers every year. It's Not Like It's a Secret. That just sounds fun. And then what does that say? What does that say? Hold on, that's really far away. I can't read that. Wait, give me like 30 seconds. Give me 30 seconds. Hold on, we're just gonna zoom in and drag it. Where Waters Meet. And this is a book that I think I got off of like Amazon Prime Reads. Oh god, I broke it. There we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, that book I got off Amazon Prime Reads, and it just sounds amazing, so I want to read it. And one of these days, I will. My TBR is growing at an unhealthy rate. Okay, and that is pretty much everything from the book tag, but I do want to throw out like a couple seconds of extra shameless self-promo. Check out the Queen of Thieves series. The first 4 books are available. You can purchase them all individually, or you can get the first 4 books of the series in a bundle, which will be cheaper. But I do believe starting tomorrow is the indie book extravaganza, and I will be, oh, there's a timer on the screen now. Ew. The indie book extravaganza and the first 2 books will be available for free on my Patreon, so check that out as well. You can link down to my Patreon is down below. Also check out Sapphic Blooms, this anthology. Good time. I like a lot of the stories in there. It's a great time. Apparently mine is the cutest erotica people have been reading, so it's like apparently extremely adorable for erotica, so there's that. And then check out, or keep an eye out for Amani and Aaliyah's Fashion Bible. Save it on Storygraph, save it on Goodreads, the whole 9 yards. But that, I believe, is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Valedictions, friends.